Well, g'day and welcome back to the shed. And today I'm going to have a look at this Hacker Herald. It's a model RP30. It says so on the dial there. That's the only way I know. I know nothing about these things. I know Radio Cruncher. Graham does half a dozen of these before breakfast every day, but they're not so common over here, and I've never actually seen one before. So when I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, I snapped it up. I didn't pay too much for it. It doesn't go, so I'm told. And I'm quite prepared to believe that that's true. Now, I'm not at all confident with this radio. I'm going to have a look at it, see how far I get. But these things are full of those germanium transistors with a very high failure rate, and they're difficult to find replacements for and expensive if you can find them. So there's every chance that I'll just have to put this aside for some time until I get replacement parts for it. But I'll open it up and have a look and just see how far I can get with it. In the meantime, if I do have to put it aside, or if by some miracle I finish it quickly, I've got a number of other radios on standby that I'd like to have a look at. And I thought I'd show you what I've got on my waiting list and see what you'd like to see me do next. So I'll just give you a quick rundown on what I've got in the shed. So this is one I picked up just a few weeks ago, and it's a Philips, but it's a bit unusual. I haven't seen one like this. It does have FM, and it's a model B3X02A, Philips, Belgium. And Christophe from Retrotech tells me that it was made in a factory near where he lives. This might be interesting, although it is a Philips and it's bound to be trouble. Now, looking in the back, it all seems to be there. It might work straight off, but I somehow doubt it. Has it got a... yeah, it's got the remains of a European plug on it. Another thing I've got is this AWA radiola radiogram, and it's taking up an unreasonable amount of real estate on the shed floor. It looks to be complete. It's got a BSR turntable in it, automatic changer. All looks intact, but I don't know anything about it. I don't even know if it's transistor or valve. Okay, so let's have a look. Well, the lid comes off. So the automatic changer looks good. Radiola tuning. It's just got the Australian states marked on it, so it'll be AM only. All looks in good condition. Down here, the usual. Pick up radio volume, on off, tone. All the knobs are present and correct. And having a look in the back, that looks to be a valve chassis in there. The cabinet looks okay, and it's all there, so it'll probably be a good candidate for a quick restoration and maybe a Bluetooth addition. And this is the other one I could have a look at. Now, this is an old His Master's Voice multi-band shortwave. It looks pretty bad. It's covered in rat poo and rubbish, but the veneer's all there. It has got a smashed dial glass, but I have got a potential replacement for that. Now, it has a field coil speaker in it. The cone looks intact. And if it has continuity and the field coil has continuity, then this is probably a worthwhile restoration. I think it would come up nicely. There would be obviously a fair bit of cabinet work involved. Another thing I've had hanging around for ages is this Telefunken. I don't know what model it is. I quite like the look of these ones, but I have checked it out at one point and found it doesn't work, and put it aside because it had power supply issues. Now, this is the back of it, and someone has been messing with the power supply. It's got this homemade bridge rectifier here. I was getting nothing out of the power supply at all. This transformer doesn't look original. I think it's been replaced, and so I suspect it's a bit of a Franken radio. It may be worth getting going though. So that's the current roundup. Let me know what you think, if you have any opinions either way. I'm kind of a little bit interested in that decrepit old HMV console radio. I kind of like console radios. I don't know, they appeal to my childhood memories, I suppose. I remember as a kid sitting in front of a big radio like that, listening to Kindergarten of the Air on the ABC. It must have been late 1950s, I guess. Anyway, let's have a look at this hacker. Now, one side or the other of this comes off. I'm not sure which. It's not the bottom panel. I think it must be this. Yes, it's that one. Alright, so I'll need to put the... Here we go. 1960s Hacker Herald RP30. No, it doesn't have the price on it. I forget what I paid for this. Anyway, I like this little turntable. I suppose the idea is you turn it around to aim the ferrite rod. Probably easier than having a steerable ferrite rod in it. There's the battery leads here and another set here. All the controls seem to work. The tuning dial moves, bass and treble. It's got medium wave and long wave. No long wave in Australia, so it's basically an AM medium wave set only. Now I have got a schematic for it here, and it has two main boards. So this is the amplifier board and this is the RF board. And it shows here that it takes two 9-volt batteries in series, so we've got 18 volts across there altogether, and that goes straight to the switch. So I'm pretty confident in connecting the positive of that to the side that goes to the switch. So I'll hook the positive up to the power supply, and that red wire definitely goes up to the switch there. I can see it there, so that's okay. Ground on the black wire. And I'll set the power supply up for 18 volts. There's 18 there, I think, 15, 16, 17, 18 right there. Output on, and nothing at all. Okay, so I'm just poking around with the meter here, and we have 18 volts going in there, and on the other side of the switch, there it is there. So the switch has continuity. Okay, so I'll just put it on arms and check the speaker. Nothing. Yep, there we go. So the speaker has continuity and gives us a healthy click. Now the schematic shows the B plus goes straight up through the switch. It goes through a resistor into the RF section and straight onto this plug, pin 3, and that plug connects to the power amp section here. Where are we? Pin 3, SK1, socket 1, I presume that means. Pin 3 is that one there. So we have 18 volts on this pin here. I guess that must be the one. I don't know if there's anything on this electrolytic. No, that's a bit loose actually. Ooh! Oh, we have hum from the speaker. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll turn it up. Alright, so there's something very wrong with this capacitor here. So I wonder if we get anything. If I hold that capacitor in and just go across the dial. Ooh, is that something? It's kind of. It's not picking anything up. Alright, well, disconnect the power supply, and I guess the first thing to do is to take out this amplifier board, and we'll sort out this capacitor. There's still a bit of life in it, and that's definitely off. Yeah, see where we go from there. I dare say I'm going to have to take out the RF board, which is up here, which I think involves taking the whole chassis out, so we'll do that next. But let's just get this out and have a look. I found a little spanner that fits it. That's nice, because I can't fit a screwdriver handle in there, so that works well. Let's take out the spring washer. Same on the other side. Okay, so that should just lift off. Now let's have a look at this. I dare say this capacitor's soldered in there somewhere. It's possibly that one. So we need to take the speaker wires off and this plug. I have to do that carefully because I don't want to crack the board or something. Come on. There we go. And the speaker plugs, I don't know, I guess these just pull out. Yep. Alright, so if I desolder this from here, I think it's just going to fall off because the other leads become disconnected. Okay, well I've got that out and cleaned up the hole. Now this is a TOC Elka mold 500 UF at 12 volts. Type D1, I don't know what that means. And just checking the schematic, and there it is there, 500 mic, with the negative side towards socket 2 pin 1, which is the speaker terminal. And over here, yep, there it is there, so it's the one furthest away from socket 2, which is this one, and it does indeed have the negative going to that one, so that's good. So the best thing I've got is this 470 mic at 25 volt. I think that should do the job, so we'll put that in with the negative on that speaker terminal. So there we go. And just push him down a bit. Alright, so there we are. I've got him standing up a bit, but that's fine. Now looking at all these other caps, while I've got the board out, I may as well change all of them. I think I've got most of them on hand, but I'll just have to go through and see if I need to buy anything. But they will probably be no good after all this time. I'm not sure about these plastic ones. The amp is working though with holding that capacitor down, so I don't think they can be terrible. So let's just have a look at this one and see how it tests. I'm going to have to hold the lead on there, but that should be alright. Let's see what it says. One 1076 microfarad, 1076. ESR is 0.71. Okay, so I'd say it's probably not too good anyway. Well, I'm getting there. A few more to go, but these things are a nightmare to get out. They're pushed right down onto the circuit board, and then they have a lead folded flat against the track, and it's very, very difficult to get them up without lifting the track. Unfortunately, I've damaged two so far. I found the best way is to just put a bit of fresh solder on it, suck it up with a solder sucker, and then do the rest of the work with solder wick. This thing is next to useless. If I'm going to do more work on circuit boards, I really need to get myself a proper solder sucker any attempt to wriggle the lead free results in the track lifting, so you have to get it completely free first and then try and clip the lead or whatever you can do. It still won't let go. Ah, there we go, at last. This is C4, which the schematic says is a 10 microfarad. So this is, it has a 25 microfarad in it at 25 volts. And that measures 38.28, I think, microfarads with an ESR of 0.78 ohms. So I'll just write on here that was the 25. Now the question is, do I replace it with a 25 or a 10 as per the schematic? Well, I don't have a spare 25 anywhere, so I'm going to replace it with a 10 as per the schematic. Plus goes in that way. There you go, 10 seconds to put in, half an hour to get out. Let's have a close look at that, make sure it's alright. Yep, I think it's okay. Alright, 2 more to go. Well, there we go, all finished. I haven't wrecked it too much. I did lift a track there. I just ran the lead around to the next point. Same here. That whole section just lifted off. And I didn't do much, promise you. I didn't do too much to make it lift off. I also noticed one of these pins on the plug that goes up to the other board was, the solder looked pretty dodgy on it. I think it was this one. So there we go, all finished. I guess I'll put it in the radio, plug it in and just see if it still makes hissing noises. Hopefully I haven't completely wrecked it. There's the casualty list so far. Fair few caps for a little board like that. Okay, it's plugged in and we've got speaker hum again. Touching the wiper of the pot, I think it's that one. Yep, so we've definitely got the amp working. So I guess we better take this RF board out, but first I'm just going to remove this hinge because it's pretty scungy, and I'll soak it in vinegar or something, or do something to clean it up, because I don't want it looking like that, assuming of course I get this thing to work. I've been watching Radio Cruncher videos, and I just last night watched one showing how to zap these transistors. Now this board has these 3 AF 117s, are they? Yes. And they are probably the cause of all our trouble. They short out to the case. So I'm looking at maybe doing that. But we'll see. In a way I'm kind of looking forward to it if I do, but on the other hand it's a risky business. Gee, there's always one screw, isn't there? Alright, well that gets the lid out of the way. Yeah, it's moving. Okay, so apparently we remove the handle by pushing down on it. Is that right? Yes, it is actually, amazingly. And it just releases. Okay, the brass bits are in for a clean up, and There's this screw in either side, which I can take out. Okay, and there's a little brass washer. That's going to stay there. I think it'll be alright. I hope it doesn't fall off later. And the same on the other side. And apparently there's a screw down here and one on the other side, and then we have to somehow move it upwards and out. Put it on the screw. And the washers on each side were different, which suggests that this has been out before. I do get the impression that someone has worked on this radio before, because there were a couple of track repairs on that printed circuit board that were not mine. Alright, so we need to move this up and out, except these clips get stuck in the side, and have to just get them past their little spot without damaging anything. That one's passed. Okay, now this one. Try something a bit bigger. That's got them both. Just making sure all the wires are free. Be free, little wires. Here we are. So this should now just lift out. Yes. Okay. Now those speaker wires are fine. Put that aside. And see what we got here. Okay, so there we go. And there's those three AF117s that I dare say I'll probably have to deal with. Diode there. It's got a couple of caps in it that will probably need replacing. One here, one here, one here. And I think it was C20 that Graham said is marked the wrong way around on the board and actually has the positive and negative reversed on the board markings. So have to watch for that one. But looking over it, I can't see much wrong with it. There's all the wiring seems intact. There's the power wiring going through there. That goes over to here. Wait a minute. Yeah, that goes there. Oh, that'll be that resistor that drops it down to 7 volts or something for the RF stage. I'll check that. So the power comes down from the switch, goes to this wire here, and I looked at the back of the board. It does go through this resistor here. Now here we have it coming in. That'll be it. 15. Says it's 2.7k. Now that's orange, and something. I'm not sure what the colour is. Let's see what it is. But that's definitely that resistor. It can't be anything else. Let's see what we got. $3.8k, so it's not that far different. It looks original. It's one of those funny things that I've only ever seen in this radio. Yeah, 3.8. So yeah, orange, red. So it's supposed to be 3.3k. 3.8. I think it's good enough. So that's obviously not an issue. I suppose I'm going to have to ultimately put a signal into it and trace it through, but just looking around it, everything seems to be intact. No sign of skullduggery around. Hang on. Look at that. This little green wire's loose. Oh, where it goes to, let's have a look. It goes to the goes up here to the tuning capacitor. Does look like it's come off this one here. That looks like it's got recent soldering iron marks on it, so someone might have soldered that. I don't know, but that's looks like it's just broken off the surface there. Gee, I don't suppose I should be so lucky as for that to be the problem. But look, I'm going to tack that back on, test it and see what happens. I'll just strip the end of that and pop him back on. Now, I guess it went to that one. No, I can see a little mark where the end of it was attached there, kind of. Alright. Okay, well, I've hooked it all up. I guess we turn it on and see what happens. Here we go. Ooh, that kind of, when I turned that on, the speaker cone just jumped out, kind of. Oh no, it's all right. It's, yeah, it's staying put. I'm not hearing much. Bit of a whine. That's a tuning over there. Nothing. Ooh. That sounds like something's very scratchy. Maybe it's the tuning cap. Don't know. Oh.
Saying the Pacific Islanders who a new group.
Okay, it's working.
Getting involved and sharing their culture with us. The singing was absolutely beautiful, and the dance performance.
Amazing.
I know Spud very well. I trained at his gym for 10 years. And
there's another station. It's probably ABC.
Sorry. Yeah, my row as well. Traditional international.
There's something not right there, but look, that was absolute luck. Beginner's luck, that's what it is. So there, it seems to have a bit of a problem here. The pots are scratchy too.
No, he didn't wake up.
The volume pot's actually not bad.
So he'd given up on that angle. Instead, the woman behind me with two toddlers got up with one of her children.
Maybe some more broken wires.
In the row behind me. So I said with great trepidation, "Excuse me, would you mind if I climbed over your sleeping kid to go to the bathroom?"
Now we're not getting anything again.
Plenty to get to. Also plenty of time for your calls. Don't be to get Zara to work there in the production.
6IX.
My name's Sean Lindsay. On the
in Melbourne, Christy 9.
There's been mixed reactions to deals struck between the Western Australian government and embattled home builder Niche Living. Hundreds of customers.
It's picking that up. Oh, there's something funny going on there. I'll just turn it off for a minute and see what I can see. Alright, let's have a look. There's something around this diode here. I might just reflow that solder joint where the diode goes in there. So we have this diode here which is attached to one gang of the tuning cap up here to the switch panel. But now, looking at it again, I don't think that's a diode. I think that's a cap. I couldn't see a diode on the schematic in that position. I'll just have a look. Okay, what I think we're looking at is the oscillator tuner. There we go. I think we're looking at C13, which is 480 picofarad. That goes from the switch to one side of the tuning gang. The other side is grounded, so it goes to the non-grounded side. That's correct. So I think it's this one which belongs on the oscillator circuit and means we intermittently lose the oscillator. So it could be faulty, or it could be some connection around here, could be that switch contact even, who knows. Anyway, I've reflowed that solder joint. I'm going to hook it up and see if that's made any difference at all. Oh. No, we've still got problems.
The loss today could spell the end of their...
Well, I guess I'll keep on poking and prodding.
Four straight losses, including a 55-point smashing.
Starting with that
of the
cap.
Lions last week. It's all to play for today. We're about 40 minutes away from bounce down here at Fremantle Oval. Mitch Turner here in the commentary position up in the old Dockers HQ.
Moving the tuning cap around.
Beautiful condition on a bright sunny afternoon. Frio. Me looking just as immaculate is Dave Lindsay. Welcome back, Dave. Yeah, it's a position to be called.
I think it's to do with the body of the tuning cap somehow. How, I don't know. It's gone all together now. Okay, I might just try giving it a squirt of deoxit, and if not, I might be pulling it to bits to see if there's something shorting or not grounding on this. Okay, just give it a little squirt on the wiper there. A little contact that grounds the rotor. A little bit there too, won't hurt. Oh, I've lost signal. That'll no doubt come back. Turn it off for the meantime. Just
experience is to not only sort of the back line, but she slotted into our leadership group as well.
Okay.
And she's just a great person. Having her walk and the kids around has just added another dimension, so we're absolutely glad to have her. I think we've got her for 3 years, so even better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God is our only chance.
Doing that very slowly. It is really hard to get close to Gaza. Of course, we can't get in there. The Israelis don't let us in.
Yeah, we're getting reception all the way around to there now.
We've managed to get to the area's checkpoint, which is closed right now in the watchtowers.
Last night, no good at all, to be fair. But the Adelaide Cup itself, the race itself.
The ferrite rod isn't in a particularly good spot for reception here, but at least I can see what they're doing. Whoa!
Her line, which is the defensive line, which is very well at the moment.
She's been making a few moves outside the line as well.
That seems to be going fine anyway.
Special moves late in the game as well, so...
Volunteering.
And if you want to come and play for us, we're taking...
I feel
Yarra Bowers, but the numbers.
Yeah, there's not much up this end of the dial anyway. A couple of weak stations. We've got that wine, which I think is the LED lights in the shed here.
If you like, non-combatant aid.
Okay,
Direct shots to the
I'll just
head,
poke it
to
a bit
the
more.
spine, to the limbs. Very indicative of the direct.
Nothing seems to be microphonic now. In particular, those AF117s don't seem to be sensitive to tapping or anything. Well, it's a bit frustrating because I have no idea what it was I did, but it does seem to be working properly now. I might give the volume pot a prophylactic squirt of deoxit just to keep it going. It's not giving problems, but okay. Well, I suppose I'll get on with and change the remaining capacitors on this board. There's only 3 of them, thank goodness, because they're such a pain to work on, these printed circuit boards. But I'll do that and clean it all up and put it back together, I guess. Just bench test it for a while perhaps and see how it goes. I'm on the second one of these caps on the RF board, and it's so far, touch wood, it has been a lot easier to get them out than it was on the amplifier board. I don't know why, but these just seem to come in more easily. Okay, that's looking reasonably good. Just give them a little wiggle. Yeah, that just about fell out compared to the others. I'll see what it was like in a minute. A 10 at 64, what do we got here? That's 100, that's no good. A 10, this is at 25 volts, but it should be alright, I would think. We're operating on 18 volts here, so it should be alright. Yeah, that'll do. That's the other one I took out, I'll have to check it too. C17, it doesn't have plus marked on it. It doesn't have plus marked on it. In any case, this is C17, the negative goes to ground, the positive goes to R9 and R6, and here's R9 on this side of it, R6 runs up this track up here. So this is where the positive goes, the negative goes to the ground plane, so you can't really go wrong with that. I'll just pop that in so it goes this way around. Okay, 2 down, 1 to go. And the 1 to go is the notorious C20, which I've been told has the incorrect markings on the schematic. You know what I'll do? I'll check this before I change anything else. We'll just see how bad these caps are. If I can see my tester anyway. There it is. Under a pile of junk. Okay. So, it's supposed to be 10 UF. We'll just see what it really is. 11.45. Gee, that's not too bad. ESR 0.78. So, oh well, it's changed now. Let's have a look at this other one that I pulled out. It's supposed to be, when I find it, 300 mic, rated at 10 volts DC. $655. ESR 0.54. Yeah, so it's way over its value anyway, probably not too well. So there we go, just cleaning it off with isopropyl. I'll just swab it off with a cotton bud. Just get rid of all the flux and stuff. Okay, here goes, I've got it all hooked up.
That changed me, but then I still came out of there, you know, with no, only see
against our troops when you fire at a camera.
Hurdy-gurdy goat. You getting footy as usual. She's so important. Would you use her any differently?
Well, I think that's a big issue, is that losing Miller takes that rotation, send McCarthy.
Taxis, but I get nothing.
It might be Mr. Peregrine from Blue Goose Boy who ran out of...
Well, that's working. And there's no dropouts on the stations or anything like that. So I guess we're pretty much right. With something like this where I'm not exactly sure what I did to fix it, I am a little bit wary. I'll probably bench test it for quite a while. I'll keep it as a kitchen radio or something. But look, it seems to be okay. So, hey, how lucky can you get? I don't want to mess with something that isn't broken. So, yeah, there you go. I'll just clean this up, put it back in its cabinet. It doesn't need a lot of work, but I think the vinyl on the back needs a little bit of stretching in. I'll just give it a good clean up anyway. I'm just starting on the cabinet, and this front grille, there's 4 little tabs inside, and they just bend back and it's come out, and it's got muck all over it. This looks like padding under the vinyl. And this cloth behind it, I guess, is to protect the speaker. I'll leave it alone, but I think I need to stretch this vinyl in again, so I can probably do that with the grill out. And this will need I guess, some paint stripper or something to take the lacquer off. No doubt it has lacquer on it. I don't know actually. I presume so. I guess this was supposed to be brass coloured. I'm not really sure now. It's a bit green down there. Yes, I think it probably was. Perhaps it was painted with brass strips. I'll have to work out what this was like originally actually. The hacker badge is good. There's a brass strip around there which is actually pretty good. I might leave that alone. Now to get this front panel off, it looks like I can just prise this brass strip up. Oh, it's coming very easily actually. Don't want to bend it though. It's kind of crimped a little bit there. Yeah, I'm going to have to be careful to just bend this up very carefully without actually denting it or anything like that. Okay, so I'll have to be careful of that, clean it up. And that looks like it comes off, I'm not sure. I've got the same sort of thing on the bottom now. Since the top one came off easily, I'll do that too. The dial appears to be Perspex or something, so that's always a good thing. Don't want nothing to break. Yes, there we go. Easy. Now what have we got here? We'll have have these got grub screws? Yes, they have. Alright, I'll need that won't go in there. Ah, there we go. Okay, so that's the volume knob. And little felts. Now I guess this might just lift off. No, it doesn't. Do I need to lift it off? Oh, it looks like it'll come off easily enough anyway, so I may as well. Yep, there we go. Now I've put deoxit on these buttons here, so I could probably just clean out that fluff, maybe squirt a little bit down from this side too. Yeah, this is just double-sided tape, I think. I might have to glue that back on. But it all looks pretty good. The dial string looks good. I could lubricate the spindle there. I don't think it really needs it, but while I'm in here... Oh, neat little mechanism for the dial string tension. It's just got a spring on there, pulling that out. Obviously works well. Still working after 60 years or something. Well, it's time at last to put the cabinet back together. I thought this wouldn't take long. It's only small. I was wrong. It's taken quite a lot of work, this one. This grill alone has been quite a bit of work. Well, it's covered in lacquer and stuff for a start, so it took me ages to strip it back to brass. It was all corroded, and then the background is painted a brown or something behind these, so I had to mask it all off. After taking probably an hour or more to mask it, it took 2 seconds to spray. But it's done now, so we can pop it back in. The vinyl on this cabinet was a bit wrinkled, so while I had the grill out, I released all this around here and pulled it tight again. It seems to have worked pretty well. Now this is held in by these 4 little tags which have a pin in them. There we go. And this one, I think the hole must be there. I've managed to stick this cloth in more or less intact. I tore it a little bit around the edges getting it out, but it's not too bad. So now this goes in here, and this other one goes here. I'll tear that off now. And the speaker is clamped on there somehow. This speaker is a very tight fit in between these 2 pieces of timber, and I've had to take them out and put them in again and just snug them in with the speaker. The instructions, or the data sheet for this radio, comes with a caution not to over tighten the speaker in the cabinet, saying that it has a very low clearance between the voice coil and the magnet, and it's an unusual speaker. It's made by Goodman's. This thing measures 22 ohms DC across the voice coil, and I don't imagine it would be easy to replace. I don't know what you'd do if you found one of these radios with the speaker gone. I think you'd be in a bit of trouble. Fortunately, this one's in beautiful condition. I imagine it would have quite good sound too. I mean, the speaker fills most of the cabinet. So it's going to be, I think, a lot better than the average portable radio. So this just sits on top here, and I've given the dial a bit of a polish. It's Perspex. It came out quite nicely. There's some very fine scratching around here around the volume control that didn't come out, but really it's hardly noticeable. And that all looks pretty good. Just make sure it's centered. Now we have to get these brass strips onto this. I might put it the other way up first and get the other side on. I think these are both the same. One already had a slight creasing in it there. I managed to massage most of it out, but further proof that this radio has actually been got at before. So that just presses very carefully on so as not to bend it or anything. Okay, turn it over and do the other side. And I'll leave the knobs until I've got it in the cabinet, I think. Now I have to get these plastic handle grommet things in. Which means bending it more than I'm really happy with, but I guess that's how it goes. There. Just easing the ferrite rod past these clips. And I think these screws just drop through here. Yes, and there is a captive nut. I was worried about that for just a moment, but it seems all good. One in there. Through the circuit board, which is a little scary, but I'm sure it will be alright. I'm just not going to over tighten it. Yeah, that'll do. So the handle screws just go through here and screw into those rotten little plastic grommets that make it so hard to put this thing together. I can't get over the quality of the fittings on this radio. Everything's just so beautifully made. These are solid brass screws, nicely turned, little clip thing that attaches to the handle. Okay, I suppose I better put the amplifier board in. We won't get much sound out of it otherwise. Bit of light on the subject. And it just sits in here. Actually, I'll polish up its nuts. There we go. It just fits nicely in there. Even the little spring washers are copper plated. Amazing. And now for the knobs. These came up nicely. Polished them up and lacquered them, so they should last a little while. The original lacquer on this had to be taken off to polish them, obviously, and it was really tough stuff. And one thing to be careful of with these, I tried paint stripper on these first, but I tested it on the back of the knob just to see if it was going to have any effect, and it does. So be very careful what you put on these knobs in terms of chemicals, because this plastic is dissolved very easily. Now one has a little dot on it and the other one doesn't, so I presume the volume will be the one with the little dot. Put a little felt on. They didn't come up perfectly, unfortunately. There's a little bit of spotting on there where I think the brass plating has gone through to the copper base underneath, and there's some more coppery coloured stains. It's pretty good. I don't know if you can see that, but it's, yeah, just got that little bit of corrosion on it, unfortunately. Let's turn this around, see if I can engage the grub screw with my screwdriver first, because these are a little bit difficult to get in. The hinge didn't come up so well. It's only brass plated and it had rusted through to the steel underneath, so I had to resort to gold paint to cover in the rusted steel bits. I treated them with rust converter first. Alright, let's just see if it shuts. That board is a little bit further out than I'd like. I think it's going to be okay. Well, it's pretty much all back together. The problem you always have with these, of course, is that it takes these ever-ready type PP9 batteries. Now, I don't know if they're available anywhere. I could probably get some online, but I haven't got any at the moment. So I've decided to go with these little 9-volt batteries that you can buy anywhere, cheap and plentiful. And what I've done is I've bought 2 holders for these, and I've mounted them on little wooden blocks. Now, and they will slide in here. Now, to protect that label which I've glued in, I've got a little acrylic sheet that I've cut that will slide in over there, and the battery holder will slide in like that. Same on the other side. I'm just finishing this one off, so I'll just screw this to the little piece of plywood, the base, with these impossibly small screws. Luckily I have a collection of impossibly small screws. There we go, and that will just slide in like that. I wasn't sure which way around to put the wiring, but that seems to work best for both sides. It's a bit hard to see, but I've glued a matchstick on its end there, and the same on the other side, which will stop them from lifting up. It slides in underneath them, and of course when the back's shut, that'll hold it in. Now, if I can find the proper batteries for it, I can always just remove them with a Stanley knife. I might have to touch up the paintwork perhaps a little bit at the most, but it's not a permanent thing, can easily be reversed. So here we go. That just slides in there, that one in there. Close the back. I haven't put the handle on yet either, so the handle will just slot on like that. So turn it on.
Peel and win. Well, it happened to me yesterday. I was never asked if I wanted it. Didn't also take my 4 cents a litre off the cost and charged $2 for a bottle of water that I never purchased. So you need to go and check your receipts at all the Coles Express, because I'm
kind of felt inevitable, but really they just dragged it out until the final day. The Dockers, they expect.
I don't think they've stolen everything she has, but
5 seconds off.
So there we go. It really is a nice looking radio. I'm going to try it out in the kitchen for a while to see how it goes. I don't know how long those batteries will last. The radio draws 18 milliamps according to the specifications. That should be all right for a while, but ideally I'd like to get the proper batteries for it. Well, there we go, and what a great little radio it is. I'm almost disappointed though that it worked so quickly. I've been watching Radio Cruncher and taking copious notes on how to zap those little AF117 transistors, thinking that I'd have a go at it myself. Nope, the thing worked. They're all good. And the same with the last transistor radio I dealt with. I was hoping to learn something actually, and that's really not happening. They're all too easy. I'm sure I'll come across a tricky one day, but I think I'll have a break from transistors for a little while. Now, let me know in the comments which radio you'd like to see me do next. There's that HMV, Australian HMV console that I've got in the shed, looking pretty ratty. There's that radiogram, HMV radiola, sorry, AWA radiola radiogram. I've got that Philips AM FM radio and the Telefunken. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little hacker. It's a brilliant little radio, and maybe I'll get another one day. So we'll be back soon with one of the other of those other radios. Catch you then. Bye for now.